Princess Celestia, the Changeling Queen. Chapter 11. New Developments. It is better to risk saving a guilty person than to condemn an innocent one. Voltaire. Twilight and Alternia blinked into Alternia's private chambers, giggling to themselves. Their reverie was quickly interrupted, though, as they found a unicorn stallion with a ridiculous amount of tacky military badges and golden bars pinned to his dress uniform. Princess Celestia,
Major Golden Star, how and why did you enter my chambers? You know that not even royal guards are allowed in my chambers on penalty of court-martial.
Alternia reminded, an icy edge to her voice. Inwardly, she let out a sigh of relief that she had donned her disguise before teleporting to her chambers. Golden Star flinched, jingling some of his gaudy ornaments. Princess, I overruled your guards because it's urgent. We've captured several changelings and are trying to interrogate them, but they refuse to cooperate. Alternia and Twilight's interest was caught, and they raised their eyebrows. Golden Star beamed at the pair's reaction, and completely missed the worried look that passed from Twilight to the impassive princess.
Thank you, Major, for informing us, but I do warn you, do not enter my chambers without my express permission ever again.
Alternia then pursed her lips thoughtfully, and added,
Major, please fetch Princess Luna and Prince Blueblood and take them into their cells. Twilight, go inform Shining Armor and help him with the wedding. I don't think that this is something that you'll be comfortable doing.
The Canterlot dungeons had not seen this much activity in years. Two royal guards admitted Alternia, Luna, and Blueblood into the dungeons, and there they were met with more guards that had their backs turned to them, focused on what was within 5 steel-barred cells. The chained changelings sat tensely on the floors of their prisons. The moment the trio stepped into the dungeon, they hissed in unison, and their light blue eyes narrowed. The guards started and spun around, their eyes widening as they saw Celestia's form. Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, and Prince Blueblood? Said the guards, confusion replacing the reverence in their voices. Ahem, remarked Blueblood officiously, a discerning eyebrow raised. Immediately, the guard snapped to attention. Shaking her head at her nephew's antics, Alternia drew a solemn mask over her features.
I will speak with the prisoners, one at a time in the interrogation room with Luna and Blueblood.
Before the guards could get another word out, Alternia raised a hoof.
There will be no need for any escorts. I will be fine with my sister and nephew.
But, Princess, how are we gonna get these savages to talk? Asked Golden Star. Luna stared disbelievingly at Golden Star, who seemed almost eager for Alternia to answer the question, all while Blueblood nervously glanced at his aunt. Alternia herself blinked uncomprehendingly, then her magenta eyes seemed to burn with barely concealed disdain.
I merely said that I wish to speak with the prisoners, Major. If these changelings do not wish to talk to me, then that would be their choice, however foolish it may be,
remarked Alternia. Raising her hoof, Alternia pointed to the first cell.
Let's start with her,
said Alternia. The royal guard stared at the princess in confusion. Wait, Princess, that's a she? Gasped a guard. Alternia inwardly cursed herself as she realized that she had slipped up. Of course she would know how to differentiate between changeling sexes, but none of the guards even knew.
We alicorns know far more than the common pony, and have had interactions with changelings in the distant past,
said Luna cryptically. Alternia breathed an inward sigh of relief, and as the three walked into the interrogation room, she smiled gratefully at Luna. The room was bare, a single wooden table with some 4 old creaky chairs being the only furnishings.
Luna, I would prefer if you ask the questions. Blueblood, observe them, and I'll try to glean what I can from what I know of changelings,
whispered Alternia to her friends. The Princess of the Night raised an azure eyebrow.
Shalt thou not ask the questions, Alternia?
Inquired Luna.
With all due respect, Aunt Luna, you're scarier. I believe Aunt Alternia wishes to introduce a level of intimidation into the interrogation,
piped up Blueblood. Alternia nodded, a mischievous grin on her lips, to which Luna snorted. Still, the alicorn took the center chair and composed herself, as Alternia told the guards to bring the changeling in. The changeling was young, with a strong gleaming carapace and thick legs. The chair creaked noticeably as she was seated upon it. As the door slowly closed shut, Luna leant forward.
What is thy name and title?
Luna bellowed, in full-on royal Canterlot voice, deafening the confines of the interrogation room. The changeling shook like she was weathering a blizzard. Her lips pressed so closely together they paled, and her gaze averted, but she didn't answer. And then things went in a rather unexpected direction.
Oh, we are sorry. We spoke too loud. What is thy name and title?
Asked the princess demurely. Alternia's eyes widened, while Blueblood almost fell out of his chair in shock.
I won't tell you anything,
stammered the changeling. Luna shrugged nonchalantly.
But thou just told us that you will not tell us anything.
The changeling winced and covered her mouth with her hooves.
Long live Queen Chrysalis!
Whimpered the changeling.
Indeed, long live Queen Chrysalis.
Echoed Luna most enthusiastically, while raising her hoof to the ceiling. Everybody in the room was staring at Luna in disbelief, and the changeling in particular was shivering at the alicorn's wide smile.
What are you playing at, Pony?
Demanded the changeling, mouth agape in confusion.
Truly I tell thee, changeling, we do not wish to fight with thy kind. Ponies are not great warriors, and we would not be so easily beaten today if we were.
Said Luna, as casually as if she was discussing the weather.
I guess so.
Said the changeling, with uncertainty.
Why, our own sister was defeated by thy queen this very day.
Alternia groaned dramatically, making sure to grimace at the same time.
And the elements of harmony were detained within your queen's grasp.
Silently thanking her mother for her instruction, Alternia swooned gracefully onto her chair, making sure to do it, just like the operas that she so hated, but had to attend anyway for appearances.
Surely, the changelings must be a grand race. It makes us wonder how the changeling hive is constructed. It must be a glorious structure. A monument that would dwarf Canterlot.
Speculated Luna, hoof on her chin.
Well, yes. Our hive is carved into the Badlands canyons, after all.
Remarked the changeling. It took Alternia all of her willpower to stop herself from doing a yes dance, but she managed. Given the momentary hesitation by Luna, it also seemed that she had trouble suppressing her own joy. Oddly enough, it was Blueblood, of all ponies, who kept a straight face.
Quite so. It was nice talking to you, changeling. Guards, please return her to her cell.
Luna glanced at Alternia, grinning. As the guards entered, they took the changeling back to her cell. The moment the door shut, Alternia wrapped her arms around Luna, catching the alicorn by surprise.
Luna, you're a genius! How did you ever think of that?
Inquired Alternia eagerly. Luna extracted herself from Alternia's grip and coughed.
Well, fear only comes with uncertainty. As the first of her kind to be interrogated, the changeling would have been mentally prepared to be tortured, beaten, and threatened. It was much better to use an unexpected approach to scare the changeling. Then with fear comes confusion, and only then can information be obtained from the interrogated. Explained
Luna. The princess frowned.
However, this technique will only work when the subject is untrained, such as this one. But still, it was an impressive performance, and I think I have something for you that you might be interested in.
Said Alternia with a smile.
You see, that first changeling was a drone, the worker class of the changeling hive.
At Alternia's statements, Luna's brow was raised in interest. Blueblood scratched his mane, mystified at his aunt's reaction.
But, Auntie, what does that have to do with any of this?
Inquired the prince innocently. Shaking her head and mumbling something about the education of equestrian nobility, Luna glanced at Blueblood.
Nephew, ask yourself this question. What is the worker doing on the front lines of a major changeling offensive, which is exclusively a job for soldiers?
Blueblood blinked, and his lips curled in a silent O.
Oh, so the queen was desperate enough to order untrained changelings into battle. But why?
Wondered Blueblood, tapping the table. Luna remained silent, biting her lip in frustration.
I have a hunch, but I need to confirm it.
Said Alternia contemplatively. She turned to Luna.
Why don't we let Blueblood take over this time and continue this type of interrogation?
Blueblood nodded, and the three resumed their seats, but Luna leaned over to Alternia, her eyes narrowed.
Are you sure it's a good idea to let a soft prince lead the interrogation?
Whispered Luna into Alternia's ear.
Trust me on this. Blueblood is picky, but if anything, he is good at making conversation, one way or another.
Replied Alternia. It was then that Luna noticed the wicked glint in the changeling's eye, and decided to abandon her line of questioning. The second changeling was a male, and smaller than the first one. Despite the rough handling by the guards, his gaunt face remained emotionless, not unlike a stone. Blueblood sat on his chair, leaning back, shoulders completely relaxed.
So, changeling, tell me a little about yourself. Perhaps your name?
Suggested the prince. Luna groaned inwardly at her nephew's all too genial tone. There was no way that he was going to get anything out of this changeling, who was far more contained than the first. Sure enough, he didn't. The changeling was silent. To that, Blueblood simply shrugged, producing a silk hookerchief from his jacket, and coughed daintily into it. After doing so, he pocketed the hookerchief back and shifted around on his chair. Luna glanced at Alternia, who had the tiniest hint of a smile on her lips.
Trust him,
was what her smile said, but Luna was beginning to find it increasingly difficult to quell her frustration. Finally, Blueblood stopped wiggling around and sighed happily.
Alright. If you won't tell me anything about yourself, then I shall. I am Prince Blueblood, the 15th Royal Prince of Equestria, Duke of Canterlot, Lord of the...
A long while later.
And that's how the Blueblood family is related to the line of Princess Platinum.
A single hair in Luna's ethereal mane twanged out of place as the alicorn stared at the prince. Her pupils had shrunk to pinpricks and her eyes were as wide as frisbees. Now she realized the meaning of the prince's earlier antics. He was basically getting himself comfortable so he could go on the most boring history lecture given. Perhaps Twilight Sparkle and even Starswirl the Bearded himself would have grown stiff enough from that extremely tangential oration to be felled like petrified trees.
Oh my, you really sat through all of that? Normally ponies would scream for me to stop after the first 5 minutes,
remarked Blueblood happily. The prisoner croaked, and seemed to sway slightly, forwards and backwards. If Luna wasn't so frazzled, she would have sworn his tail was twitching.
In that case, we'll continue with the history of Equestria. So, according to... Nephew, I believe that you've done your best,
rasped Alternia. Luna strained her stiff muscles to see Alternia's harrowed visage. Her right eyelid was twitching erratically. Her mane had stopped flowing, and it no longer sparkled. I can't tell if what he did was effective or ineffective. Because sure, him talking can drive creatures crazy, it's just he did it in a friendly fire sort of way. Or at least that's how I see it. Either way, let's get on to our exceptionally friendly donators. Top donators: TacoCat598, Peter Coulthard, J Tinman, Darkside, Ponyman, and Gauntlet. Courier Crew CI, Strix, Zar630, Narwhals, Raiden, Black Moonheart, Dospo, Delta Omega, RuneScythe9852, Hunter Norman, Austin Rowland, Dash of Evergreen, Ronnie Dragonwolf, Secret Moon, Tal Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Swordbrother and Mordred, Rondon Wandering, Endry63, Random Person Man Guy, Easy, Jack Hadge, Skyochia, Leslie Prickett, Jordan Peterson, Crimson Kitten A9, Lightskin, Monster Kitty, Starlight Glimmer, Lightning Blitz, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal'ca Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Raven Speedster, Zach Rakau, Mr. ECU, Edgar Garcia, One Kingdom 1, Nissa Rusan, Vazuri, Dyslexic Character Sheets, Just a Random Boy, Hodrick Plancart, A Crazy Person, Ponyman365, Daniel Beck, and 6 of 9. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.